Good morning. Good to see you all. Feeling happy to be here. I love the seasons, and I like to meet them all with an open heart and open mind. But when it feels springy, my body feels different. I'm a mammal. I'm a mammal. Grateful to be a mammal. Feels energy, moving. So, who knows how you are? However you are, I'm glad you're here. I hope we can hold each other with some compassion, and maybe something, a benefit happens while we are together practicing. So, my topic for today is a series of sutras generally associated with this verse called One Auspicious Night. One Auspicious Night. And I'm going to recite this. No, I'm going to chant it and then I'm going to recite it. One auspicious night. Do not dwell on the past, nor place expectations on the future. The past is left behind, the future is as yet unreached. Whatever quality is seen, just clearly see right here, not taken in, unshaken. This is how you should develop the heart. Ardently doing what should be done today, for tomorrow death may come, who knows? There is no bargaining with mortality and his mighty horde. Whoever lives thus ardently, relentlessly, both day and night, has truly had an auspicious day, so says the peaceful sage. May all the benefit of this practice be an offering. May all the benefit of this recitation be an offering for the liberation of all beings. And now I will recite it. One auspicious night. Do not dwell on the past. Do not place expectations on the future. The past is left behind. The future is as yet unreached. Whatever quality is present, just clearly see, right here, not taken in, unshaken. This is how you should develop the heart. Ardently doing what should be done today, for tomorrow death may come, who knows? There is no bargaining with mortality and his mighty horde. Whoever lives thus ardently, relentlessly, both day and night, has truly had an auspicious day, so says the peaceful sage. So I'm just going to give you some background on this first. This sutra is sometimes, the title is translated quite variously, like a single excellent night. But even more confusingly, when I first encountered it, it was at a retreat at Hokyoji about 20 years ago that was being led by Dokai Georgian down there. And he gave some talks about a sutra which was called One Fortunate Attachment. And it turns out it was the same thing. I have read some wonderful essays about why you would have these extremely different translations of the title of this, and that's all I'm going to say about that. I do think landing on one auspicious night or a single excellent night is perhaps more accurate. And here, night actually is a short form in Pali discourse for a 24-hour period. So it's kind of like if you'd say 3 moons have passed. That means like 3 cycles of the moon. Kind of a similar usage. So this, I just remember being really inspired by those talks. I was like, wow, so great. Turns out if you go and you meditate all day and then someone says something inspiring, it may really land. Uh, so the this verse that I chanted appears numerous times in the Pali Canon, which is the kind of the earliest large records of Buddhism that exists, and it occurs in the Majjhima Nikaya, which is the section called the Middle Length Discourses of the Buddha, which is about the size of a small dictionary. And it occurs in a series of sutras. So in the first one, someone is asking about something, and the Buddha gives this verse and he gives an explanation of it. And then in the next one, someone asks Ananda, do you know this thing? And they know it and they recite it. And then in a couple more, there's these deities that come and they need to be taught this sutra. Which gives me the impression that the idea is this would be helpful for just about anybody. That's kind of, sometimes you go, why do they keep saying everyone should learn this? And there's a lot in it about how you should remember it. I should say that this is not a single translation. I have picked different lines from different translations, which, like, if I'm writing a book about a sutra, I would never do that. You know, I would be clear about where the translation came from and attribution and all that. For an oral transmission, I think it's okay to sort of be a little fuzzy with the, what would I call, attribution and the academic side of things. I hope. So that is to say, if you look this up, you'll be like, well, this looks a little different. You could find the other translation that has the line I used. So that's just kind of some background. Also, on this being like kind of a universal type of a message, by the way, I should pause and ask, are people hearing me well?
Yes.
If there is anyone magically manipulating the audio system in another realm, perhaps the realm of devas, which I think may be true as I look meaningfully into the camera, I think the audio in this room could be a little bit louder from what I have heard as a report from the attendees. Look at that. Seek and ye shall find. Ask and ye shall receive. Thank you, oh magical realm person. So, yeah. So I'm going to move on. Do not dwell on the past. Do not place expectations on the future. Yeah. So this sutra says it's one auspicious night, and auspicious. You know, the idea of auspicious nights is quite common in many cultures. So you might say, like, someone might say, like, the moon is in Mercury, so I don't know anything about astrology, but the idea would be like that would be an auspicious time for a particular thing to happen. And actually, astrology is very pervasive cultural phenomena in India, has been for a long time. So at the time of Buddha, it was common to be like certain dates, certain seasons, certain confluences of particular cyclical phenomena would make an occasion auspicious. And this is still true. People will celebrate holidays based on auspicious things, and we have like, Passover and Ramadan and Christmas. You know, people are, this is cool. Anyway, this sutra is kind of saying, yeah, but how about this idea? A totally different idea, which is what makes a day auspicious is your practice. What makes a day auspicious is your practice. And if your practice is really ardent and relentless at seeing what is actually here and developing your heart, that's an auspicious day. And this is very consistent with the Buddhist framework. Now, within Buddhist cultures, there's all kinds of systems of auspicious days, there's holidays, there's people have integrated astrological systems, so it's all cool. But this sutra is really pointing towards something else, and I would say a very fundamental message of Buddhism, which is what really you want to bring your attention to in every way you possibly can is how you are practicing. So think a useful extension of this, I mean, I think that's the distinct context. He's kind of challenging a cultural norm in calling this verse one auspicious night. But, you know, for most people I know, not super focused on, I mean, some people may be, but not super focused on thinking that what makes a day auspicious is a set of external circumstances like astrological or something, or religious. But you might think, this was a great day. I got accepted to graduate school. You know, or this was a great day. I remember the day I got married about 7 years ago. I mean, it was a great day. I remember it fondly over and over again, and it's very joyful. So, and that is auspicious. It's cool. It's cool. On the other hand, I think this sutra is reminding me, like, yeah, that wasn't the auspicious. What made that day auspicious was the quality of practice. We came there to affirm love and joyfulness and connection. And I did that, and other people did it with me, and that made it. That's actually what made it auspicious. And to flip the coin, I've had many periods in my life which I would have said, this is not auspicious. This is not my auspicious life. This is not my beautiful auspicious house. Yeah. So if we believe that certain days are auspicious, then by default there will be a dualistic category of non-auspicious days. And this sutra challenges this idea. Yunmen was one of the great Chan Zen ancestors. And one of his more famous sayings is, every day is a good day. Every day is a good day. And of course, there are many, many contexts where this would be extremely unkind to say to somebody. Right? Is that obvious? You know, it's like, oh, I'm just helping you. I'm giving you some Zen wisdom. Now someone is really suffering. No, I'm not going to complain. Every day is a good day. Except maybe if we had a deep relationship of trust where that might encourage them to feel like they had more agency. Because the idea that every day is a good day is that every day is a good day to practice. Every day is good. If you have a day, there must be an opportunity to practice, to do something liberative. Cool. So Yunmen, I don't know how his particular life was, because we don't have this sort of biological or biographical information for him or people of his era so much, but he lived during a period like the last 40 or 50 years of his life. It was called the 5 Dynasties and 10 Kingdoms period. I don't know much about it, but I did read that there tended to be coups, assassinations, warring states all over China in a constant roiling mass of quite a bit of violence and power struggle with 5 dynasties. So, every 10 years or so, someone was being assassinated as the head of state and replaced. That doesn't sound very nice to me. It sounds really painful and violent and stressful. And Yunmen said, every day is a good day. He practiced. So I do find this helpful. Maybe everyone already knows where I'm going with this right now. But if I look at things happening in the wider world outside of my household, I see now, oh beloved friend in the realm of audio, it's a little ringy in here. Maybe just a little bit down, just a tiny bit. We're refining here, my friends, so this is a fairly new system. I hope this is helpful to our, I'm not actually sure who's running the system there in the basement, so thank you very much for your work. Really appreciate it. There is a very concerted effort to marginalize, oppress, and exploit people being made by very powerful people at this time. And I suspect the people in this room already know it, and I just want to say it's real. I mean, it seems pretty evident. You just look at like, who's being fired? Oh, there seems to be some consistent characteristics. They're women, they're black people. We see very active efforts to remove rights for trans people. So it seems really, really bad. I think this is harmful, and I hope to respond in a way that can be helpful. But rather than thinking this is a bad time, what I want to think is this is a good time for me to practice. This is a good time for me to practice. And by practice, I mean do something that helps people be free from suffering. And this is, I talk about the social scale there, but I also think of the period when my father was dying, which it was really, really hard. It was a long time ago, almost 25 years ago now. It was so painful for me and for him and for lots of other people. But beautiful things happened. And beautiful things happened because people chose to respond to the situation in a way that it was kind and liberative. And I saw my father in the last years of his life make really beautiful changes to the way he lived. He realized that this was an opportunity. So the text says, do not dwell on the past nor place expectations on the future. This seems kind of like, I don't know, most people would be like Zen 101 type of a thing. But, I need a lot of reminders. I don't know how many times I've heard something like this and then walked out the door and just started dwelling on the past. So what I will say is I don't think this is about ignoring the past or the future at all. So when we say don't dwell on the past, it doesn't mean never think about it. But, taking time to consider the past and its implications on the future and to learn from it for how we can do better is cool. I wouldn't call that, you can turn that into dwelling on the past, but I think we're getting, when I say dwelling, how it's like, I'm not actually figuring anything new out about this. I'm just thinking about how that person was a jerk for the 457,000th time. It's not very helpful. Or like, oh, why did I say that? Why did I say that? Why did I? You just ask once. It's fine. Once is enough. Do not place expectations on the future. So again, this isn't about thinking about the future. The basic, from the polycanon worldview, what we want to be doing is doing things that help there be freedom from suffering. And that includes in the future. So, thinking about how what we do impacts other people for generations or eons is actually certainly part of the tradition. But it's the expectations. That's what we want to let go of. So if I can be like, yes, I want to live in a way that is conducive to everyone be free from suffering forever, but have no expectations about the results of my actions, then I'm really free. Really free. Because I'm just free to act. And then I don't have to get mad when it doesn't come out the way I want it to. It's a high bar, I get it, but the more we taste this, the more its value will be apparent. I may have told this story numerous times or never, and I think I asked the person if it was okay if I would tell it. So I have a colleague named Vishal, and he's wonderful. I don't know him that well, but I'll call him a colleague. Anyway, at one point, I met him at a place where he had a new professorship. And it was his first professorship, and he was like, had tenure or tenure track or something. So if you know anything about this, it's very hard to get. People get PhDs and struggle immensely, and it can be very, very stressful. The academic world trying to get these kind of positions is really, really hard for a lot of people. I've met many people who suffered a lot. And said, wow, Vishal, this is so great. You have this position. You seem really happy in it, which you've been talking about. And I said, geez, so many people find the process of finding an academic position so hard. How was it for you? And he said, well, I was applying for jobs, and I thought this place was really perfect, and I really liked it. So I just said, every day, throughout the day, I'm just going to pray that the people making the decision make a decision that's really good for everyone. And I did that. And I felt, very relaxed. And then it turned out I got the job, which was really nice. But I thought, wow, that's a little different than, oh my gosh, did I get it? Did I send the right thing? Did I say it right? Who should I have? May this be a benefit to everyone. It's part of a process with a lot of people. Having said all this about how saying do not dwell on the past nor place expectations on the future is not about ignoring the past or the future, I will say that it is a very central part of the Buddhist tradition, and it's something that I cannot encourage you to do enough, to make time where you can literally bring your attention to the phenomena of the present moment, and you don't have to do any remembering or any looking into the future. And this plants the seeds for the capacity to relate to remembering and looking forward in a different way. So clearly the basic meditation practice we hear is grounded in this, right? Just knowing either the breath or the phenomena of the present moment. When we have retreats here, they're designed to make it so you don't have to plan anything. I mean, you may still plan for 20 minutes about how you're going to wash your socks during the third break during the day, because our mind wants to do that. But you don't need to. It'll be okay. There'll be time to wash your socks. And all you have to do is come in. When the bell rings, sit down. When the bell rings, stand up. When people bring you food, well, eat it. Very simple. When it's time to sweep the floor, just sweep. We create a lot of context here for you to have this opportunity. And it's very powerful. Do not dwell on the past nor place expectations on the future. The past is left behind. The future is as yet unreached. Whatever quality is present, just clearly see right here, not taken in, unshaken. So clear seeing is such a big theme in the Mahayana tradition. And to really clearly see from a Mahayana perspective would be to see in a way where you don't experience any suffering and you don't do anything that would cause any suffering. That's kind of the basic meaning of it. But here I will just say, I'm going to talk about two aspects of clear seeing that can be useful. One is clearly see afflictions and beneficial factors in your consciousness. So afflictions are things like anger, hatred, slothfulness, distraction, jealousy. And you can parse these quite a bit, but one way to think of it is just notice if what's in your consciousness is painful, is it conducive to well-being? And if it's, conducive to well-being, then it's beneficial. And if it's conducive to suffering, then it's afflictive, kind of. There's we can unpack that for several classes worth of material, but the basic idea is to know what is going on here. So it's clear seeing involves seeing, oh yeah, I'm really anxious. I've been a little anxious this week personally. So, I'll be like worrying about a problem. And then I'm like, oh, it's anxiety. That's the clear seeing, is to shift from worrying about the problem to being aware that there is anxiety here. Very simple. Shift from what the mind is doing and thinking about the actual emotional content of experience. And just noticing it. So that's a really important and valuable kind of clear seeing. But that does involve like some kind of conceptions, it's like there's beneficial and there's afflictive. Emotions are different than other things and so forth. The other way of clear seeing is just thus, just seeing what's here without any ideas. So like right now, we might say there's sensations in a body, sounds, sights, mental phenomena, emotions, smells. That's a little too complicated. If you just leave down all the categories, there's just all that. There's just still too many categories. But just this. That's the root of our Zazen practice, is to just clearly see just this. James Baldwin once wrote, "We are capable of bearing a great burden once we realize the burden is reality and arrive where reality is." Well, I think this is funny because you're already in reality. So the idea that you could arrive where it is funny to me. But that's a very Zen expression. It's like, oh, you're just coming where you are, coming to be where you are. But capable of bearing a great burden, this just rings so true to me. So many times I've been so overwhelmed or upset, I can't do it, it's too much. And if I come and I actually just return to like, oh, it's this. I can bear it. And then I can do something. I can maybe bear it somewhere helpful. I mean, on the other hand, you could say it's not even a burden at that point, because burden was an idea. But there's a great liberation in just coming to just this. I'm not saying like you might not come to just this and be like, oh, just this includes an enormous amount of emotional suffering, which I have experienced many times. It's not like, oh, if you just come to this, it's like instant bliss. I have not experienced that as a necessary phenomenon. But even all the emotional anguish I came to this practice with, I learned that it was like, oh, if it's just here, I actually can do this. I can be with how I am. I can. Do not dwell on the past nor place expectations on the future. The past is left behind. The future is as yet unreached. Whatever quality is present, just clearly see right here, not taken in, unshaken. That's kind of a high bar. I see something and I get taken in. I hear something, I get taken in. I'm like, whatever it is. I'm scared. I got a message. I got an email from someone that's going to impinge on my well-being. I'm scared. Well, that's being taken in. And that's normal. But it is possible for phenomena to be there and to us not be taken in, not be reactive. So this doesn't mean we don't respond, or we shouldn't do something helpful. It just means it's not necessary for us to have any particular emotional reactivity in relationship to any phenomenon. This is really important to me. You are never obligated to have any particular feeling, I think. When a feeling arises, that's the one that's there. And then you can see it. And it's possible, if you really see it clearly, you won't be taken in. And you just meet that without being shaken. Not taken in, unshaken. This is how you should develop the heart. Oh, why? Right in the heart of the text, we get the word heart. You know, because Buddhism is about alleviating suffering. It's about caring. Well, this text is pointing towards a bare, clear attention to the moment as a way of being compassionate. I cannot remember this very well, so I'm just kind of, if any sciencey people, you feel free to send me an email. You got that wrong, but I believe there was a very extensive study of marital relationships, and they were just like, they interviewed people about how they viewed the quality of their relationship, they noticed whether they lasted or not, and they asked them lots and lots of questions, and they came up with this. They said one of the things that is very clear is that one of the most key indicators of whether people will be satisfied in a relationship and whether it will last, a marital relationship, is if the people feel like their partner pays attention to them. And actually they could measure like moments, you know, of like everyone's reading a paper and you go, "Brr, brr, brr, brr," but the other person says, "Uh-huh." Not so great. Not that I don't do it. I try. And on the other hand, to just bring your attention when it is requested and merited as you can. Bell Hooks, gave a whole talk about Bell Hooks last week. You know, she has a quotation: "The choice to love is the choice to connect, to find ourselves in the other." And this may not be, when we don't dwell on the past, don't place expectations on the future, clearly see what's here, the barrier between ourselves and other people, we can see that it's not real. That can happen. So the choice to bring your attention to the present moment is the choice to connect to what is actual. And that's an opportunity to develop the heart by learning to love what is actual. So developing the heart, loving, compassion are intimate with having a clarity of vision in Buddhist teachings. Sometimes they're described as sort of like distinct elements you would work with, and sometimes kind of collapsed. At the end of the Metta Sutta, the Loving Kindness Sutta, it's talked about developing love and how to be loving in lots of ways. And then it says, "The pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world," which just means they've entered nirvana. So having no sense desires is about not being taken in, unshaken, clarity of vision. So love, clarity of vision, being able to see the moment without jumping out into aversion and delusion, or into aversion and desire. These all lead to a deeper sense of loving engagement with the world. So now, guess what? Would you mind distributing the chant books? And we don't have enough for everybody. So, in fact, we may need more. Did you bring them all in? As far as I know. Oh, we got another stack there. Yeah, so probably people are going to have to share, so like 2 or 3 per row. And when you get the chant book, oh shoot, if you're online, I forgot, I'm sorry, online people. You're going to hear the chant, so that's good. But if you want, you can go to the MN Zen Center website. And if you go to that website and click on the tab that says Resources, under Resources, there's a tab that says Chants and Services. And as soon as you open that, at the top of the page, there's the chant book. So if you'd like to read the chant while you're hearing it, or chant with us, even better, you can do so. So, anyway, you want to look for Saturday service, and you go to about the 3rd or 4th page in the Saturday service, and there will be the Metta Sutra. So chanting, style of chanting that we will do is on a single pitch in octaves. So low voices will be something like, "This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness," and the upper voices will be, "This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness." And, it's good to chant with your ears, so you can be like, "Oh, am I chanting the right note?" You can kind of try and get yourself into alignment. Some people it's very easy, some it's very hard, and that's okay. Sometimes we get a improvised harmony, which is all okay. The point is not perfection, but practice. The point is not so much action as awareness. Action that arises from awareness. So, let's chant this together. I'll chant the title alone, and then we can chant the sutra together. Metta Sutra. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety may all beings be at ease, whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all be at ease. Let none deceive another, nor despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child. So with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the sky, then downwards to the depths, outward and unbounded, free from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being free from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. I'm going to invite you to put down the chant book and then just rest in the moment with no effort whatsoever to do anything with the mind. Uncontrived awareness of the totality of the phenomena of now. All right, thank you. So, nice to hear you all. That was wonderful. Thank you very much. And you can chant that sutra any Saturday morning that we don't have a retreat. For Saturday service, it's good to check the website and see if there's a retreat happening, in which case the programming is chanted. But yeah, otherwise we chant this every Saturday. It's very beautiful. Good reminder. So here I was pointing out the relationship that is explicit between attention to the present moment and loving kindness, compassion. I just want to say a couple more things about the one auspicious night. So then it goes on, it's like not taken in, unshaken. This is how you should develop the heart, ardently doing what should be done today. For tomorrow death may come, who knows? There is no bargaining with mortality and his mighty horde. And I'm not going to dwell on this, but I've been teaching a class on the Four Noble Truths with some wonderful people. We just finished up this week, and really the theme, one of the main themes I felt as I engaged that material is just to turn awareness of the fact that what we love will end into energy for practice. To be like, it's hard that things end and we lose them, so I care about the suffering that comes from that, and so I will practice so that people can be free from that suffering. And that's kind of what's happening at this point with this mortality and his mighty horde. Whoa! Wow. So, whoever lives thus ardently, relentlessly, both day and night, has truly had an auspicious day, so says the peaceful sage. Wholehearted practice. Such a theme of Dogen Zenji, who founded our school, to bring complete attention to washing your hands, to using the toilet, to cutting carrots, to bowing, to sitting down, to standing up, to turning, to listening, to standing still, to walking, to raising your heel and placing your foot down. Ardently, relentlessly. Hannah Arendt, who was a Jewish woman who escaped Europe in the 30s, I believe, and it's a very influential philosopher who's written extensively about totalitarianism and authoritarianism. She once wrote, "The smallest act in the most limited circumstances bears the seed of boundlessness." A central theme of the Buddhist tradition. Right now, there's no boundary around the impact of what we do. So we can always act in this boundless way, free from expectation, in some way informed by love. So I'm just going to recite the sutra again in closing. Do not dwell on the past. I'll give the title. One auspicious night. Do not dwell on the past, nor place expectations on the future. The past is left behind. The future is as yet unreached. Whatever quality is present, just clearly see right here, not taken in, unshaken. This is how you should develop the heart. Ardently doing what should be done today, for tomorrow death may come. Who knows? There is no bargaining with mortality and his mighty horde. Whoever lives thus ardently, relentlessly, both day and night, has truly had an auspicious day. So says the peaceful sage. So thank you for your attention. And now we have time so people can bring their voices. So I welcome questions or reflections. If you're bringing your voice, it's nice to bring a strong voice so everyone can hear you. Go ahead.
Thank you very much for this talk. I was sitting here in meditation for 40 minutes, dwelling on the state of the world, fearing for the future, grieving for the past, and thinking about a friend who got a hard diagnosis. And this was the perfect talk. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And I want to extend my heart to you and your friend and all the many, many people impacted by the things that you're worrying about. So, thank you. If you're online, you also can just unmute and talk.
And thank you for your talk. You mentioned a couple times like emotional anguish, and I'm new to practice and found that returning to the present is not necessarily a peaceful thing, especially after many years of maybe not being fully aware of the energetic emotions that have been happening in my own life. So there's a little bit of I know it takes like courage to face that stuff, but it's also just certainly not unshaken, for sure. So can you talk a little bit more about practically how to relate to the accumulation of emotional energy?
Yeah, thank you for the question. How to relate to, it sounds like accumulation of emotional energy, but also just like if you bring your attention to the present moment, what if there's just like a huge amount of affliction for yourself, just painful stuff. And yeah, it's an important topic, and I extend my heart to you. This is what brought me to practice. You know, I spent a lot of time sitting in this zendo just crying and shaking. It was hard. I'm really grateful I did it. I think the most important thing to say is that we want to modulate how we practice. So just learn to be gentle and discerning. So kind of what I want to learn to do through this practice is how to respond to what's here. So if I'm sitting and it's just getting really, really overwhelming, and I'm like, I don't think I can deal with this, I would be like, well, would it be better for me to do something else? That would be okay. You know, do I want to do something that's just more soothing, or maybe even removes my attention from what's so painful to me because I just can't do it? Sometimes we really can't. Or it's not compassionate to do it. At the same time, we want to kind of be challenging ourselves to learn to be able to tolerate how we actually are. And once we start to tolerate how we are, we can learn to love how we are. And then we can learn to love other things that are here in a more deep way. So I just encourage you to be gentle and careful. And yes, I am often shaken. Like, you know, it's like I notice there's anxiety. It's not like, oh, it just disappeared. So sometimes it does, but sometimes it's like I can get caught again. That's okay. So, yeah, hope that's helpful. Thank you.
I just want to express gratitude.
Ooh, can I pause you for just a second?
Sure.
Bernie, could you turn up the audio playback in here from the Zoom meeting a little bit? And go ahead and speak again, my friend, if you
Yes, I just want to express gratitude. Can you hear me?
Yes, we got you.
Okay. Yeah, I have a real deep sense of gratitude for the space that you offer in the mornings for meditation, that we can access that even online. That has been huge for me. I want to express gratitude for your mentor program. That has been amazing. And for these lectures, what you shared this morning was spot on. I am a federal employee that kind of is feeling that there's a sort of psychological warfare going on against us right now. And so this space has been huge in helping me not attach or engage in that, and just being able to be present. Okay, this is stressful time. I'm just here. And it's been huge, but not just for me personally. I think looking at the larger world and trying to figure out, how do I respond in a way that is nonviolent and does not cause harm? And this space has been great for helping me, guide me on answering some of those questions. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And this is something I've been wanting to do in various contexts, but I think I can just do it right now. I'm just going to invite everyone to just take into your hearts the gratitude for all the people who are engaged in civil service, who devote energy and time to helping government and government systems operate well. And if you would like to, you could join me in just offering a vow of gratitude for all those people. Yeah, go ahead.
Ben, to piggyback on that last comment, I think I've been just feeling very distressed about some of the things that are happening, but I've been really thinking like, what can I do at a personal or local level? And I'm just curious if you have any thoughts on like what we can be doing in this time. I've been really struggling with that. I mean, I've come up with a couple of ideas about looking at what retailers I'm consuming from, this practice, yoga practice, this meditation practice, but feeling like there's more, but feeling kind of, yeah. So I'm just curious if you have thoughts on that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Well, I like that question. I would say, like, I think it's not surprising I'm a Zen teacher giving a Zen talk. I'm going to be like, keep committing and returning and developing the roots of this practice, which are meditation, cleaning in the temple, doing sort of listening to the Dharma, learning the Dharma, supporting community. That I think is actually really valuable in a very broad sense. But for another type of practice one might be doing elsewhere, I would just like to say, I really do encourage people to, think about, if you are concerned about what's happening in the outside world, think about ways that you can be in actual relationships with people who are locally organizing to do things that help. So sometimes people, I think I'm associated with activism by some people. And for me, activism is largely about relationships. So I look for opportunities to be in relationship to people around racial justice, gender justice, around interreligious understanding. And I just, it can be very boring. You're like, I just went to another meeting. What are we even doing? But the work, if it is rooted in relationships, is powerful. And so it can be kind of easy right now to look at like a meme and you go, oh, I'll do that thing that's on the meme. That's okay. I'm not saying you shouldn't do the thing on the meme, whatever it is. But really thinking like, are there some people I could be in relationship with? And it doesn't have to make your whole life. You'd be like, I don't have much time. Okay, go once, see what happens. That's better than zero. So that's my main idea or kind of point of emphasis. And I think actually maybe I should wrap up with that. So maybe I'd like to say something kind of closing by, which is the whole thing is about relationships. This one fortunate attachment or one auspicious night sutra is about our relationship to what is. To meet it not in some relationship about trying to figure something out that is not here from the past, or to try and grasp at something that we can't control in the future, but to meet what is actually here right now with attention and care and clarity and love and energy. So that's a nice way to be in relationship. So I encourage you to dive in. Thank you. And I will turn it over to Ardently.